On today's show, we'll get into the Ottawa Senators roster, which was announced this morning for this weekend's upcoming Prospect Challenge.
And we have a SensCentral Citizen today. It's Taylor. She tells us all about how she became a Sens fan, gives us an X Factor, and a spicy hot take we all hope comes true.
Speaking of spicy hot, how about Linus Ullmark's gear? That and more on today's Locked On Sens.
I'm Jake Sanderson.
I'm Tim Stützle, and you're listening to the Locked On Senators podcast.
You're Locked On Senators, your daily podcast on the Ottawa Senators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome! You are locked on to the Ottawa Senators, the only daily podcast covering the Sens. On the outskirts of enemy territory, I'm Ross Levitan, alongside Brandon Piller up in the Blue Mountains. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. That's code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first ticket purchase at Game Time. What time is it? It's game time. You can also follow the show on social media. We're at SensCentral on Twitter, LockedOn.Senators on Instagram. You can find us everywhere you get podcasts, free and available on YouTube. Today is Wednesday, September 11th, and Pilsy, we are 48 hours away from watching Sens jerseys out on the ice.
Yeah, you'll love to see it getting closer and closer here. Although, Ross, a lot of the Sens jerseys we're going to be watching are not affiliated with the team being drafted or signed. It's a lot of amateur tryouts, but hey, Ross, I'm going to spin zone that into we're slowly getting further and further and further away from the rebuild. When you're rebuilding, you got lots of picks and prospects. Your rookie challenge is full of guys from past draft picks. Less of those guys around now, and you got to fill them with more amateur tryouts. So that's how I've decided to spin zone it.
The Ottawa Senators certainly have a fair number of amateur tryouts. 7, I believe, 6 to be exact up front. And then in goal, Michael Simpson from the London Knights has signed a one-way Belleville contract. So he's affiliated with the organization, but doesn't have an NHL deal. Now, there is a full stable of young defensemen, 7 affiliated defensemen there, but up front, it is slim pickings beyond a couple very interesting names. We're going to do deep dives on a few of the names tomorrow. We're going to do a 3 players to watch at rookie tournament tomorrow with a couple honorable mentions. But Pilsy, the group as a whole, they're going to play 3 games. They're going to play Friday at 3:30 Eastern against the New Jersey Devils rookies. On Saturday, they're going to play Pittsburgh's rookies at noon. And then on Monday, they will play the Columbus Blue Jackets rookies at 1:30. So no Montreal Canadiens, which it feels like every year they're on a crash course to kill each other on the rookie tournament ice where it's big fights, it's hits, it's injuries, it's all that. So it almost feels nice to be playing non-divisional games. Does that sound weird? Am I weird for this?
No, I agree with you. There's a lot of I don't want to say bad blood, because a lot of the players in the rookie tournament, it's not like they have like long-standing loyalty to their franchises and have hatred for their rivals quite yet. That'll come. But it is nice just to not have to see those Habs jerseys any more than we already have to. So I'm with you.
Well said. I also think it's going to present a bit of a different challenge, but for this, it's obviously individual evaluations and who's going to put themselves at the top of the pecking order among these players when the real camp starts on September 19th. At least the on-ice portion of Sens camp starts on September 19th. So I'm really excited to get and watch these players. It'll be Carter Yakimchuk's first appearance with the Ottawa Senators jersey on, the 7th overall pick from the 2024 draft. That's exciting. You've got Luke Ellenis from the Kitchener Rangers, fresh off getting an A on his jersey. Yep. You've got Andonovski, just got the C on his jersey with the Kitchener Rangers. But those 2 players and Gabriel Eliasson are very interesting for me just because they're brand new. The Ottawa Senators just picked them. It's their first time here other than development camp. So I'm excited for that kind of the new meets the guys who have been to a few of these, the Jorian Donovans and guys who have been to a couple prospect tournaments. Tomas Hamara would be in that boat as well. But this is going to be great. And even though there's a dozen players on the full roster who don't have any affiliation, there's still some pretty important pieces like Yakimchuk and forward 10th overall pick Tyler Boucher expected to play.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, there's still 2 first-round picks that
2
are going to
top
be
10
playing
picks.
here. Yeah. So there is still some juice and some meat to the bone of the storylines of the Sens rookie tournament here. But Ross, there's certainly I don't want to get into too much players we're excited about because that's going to be coming up later this week. But we can have a quick conversation about like the tiers of this rookie tournament, right? Like I would say in your top tier, you've got Yakimchuk, Boucher, Halliday. I think that's probably your top tier, right? And then your next tier, you're looking at guys like Donovan, Andonovski, Eliasson,
Pedersen.
Yeah, Pedersen probably put him in there as well, and Merilainen.
And
then,
Hamara at some point, I mean, he's one of those guys where he was the sexy pick among all these big defensemen that were taken. Feels like to me, not only are we looking at a case where Jorian Donovan, the 5th round pick from that season, has overtaken him on the depth chart. I'd argue that Matthew Andonovski was drafted the next year, 3rd or 5th round, has also passed him. So I think Hamara needs to have a really good showing at this camp.
I agree, and I wish I had the feeling of putting Hamara with those guys, but I think he's probably the first guy on the outside looking in, probably with Jabril Toure and Alanis and Chiasson. Like that, I would put those guys and Daoud. I would put those guys in a group together. I don't have the same high hopes for Hamara as I used to, which is unfortunate. And it's not to say you can't turn it around. I'm not writing the kid off by any means. Don't get it twisted. But I certainly think guys like Andonovski, Donovan, they've elevated their game past where Tomas Hamara is.
Very interested to see, though, where that all falls at rookie tournament going forward. The 2 mythical creatures, because we had Philip Nordberg as a mythical creature. Nobody knew much about him when the Senators selected him in the 2nd round 2 seasons ago. But now you've got Gabriel Eliasson, another monster, 6'7", just turned 18 years old. He's going to be out on the ice. And you know what? Bit of an advantage for Eliasson here, Pilsy. He was just a part of the under-18 5 Nations tournament. So he's actually already played in a couple competitive games before coming to camp. So I don't know if that's going to kind of help him, but I am I'm going to be very magnified ISO cam on him when he's on the ice. How can you not be? He's going to draw your attention to him just with how big and mean he is anyways.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's pretty much, I think a wide cam, Ross, is also an ISO cam of Gabriel Eliasson. So, yeah, you're going to see him when he's out there, whether you're looking for him or not.
I think this is Stephen Halliday's tournament to dominate, though. And we'll get more into what we expect from certain players tomorrow. The team, I believe, is skating on Thursday before taking the plane, train, automobile, however they're getting to Buffalo, where the prospect tournament will be held. But we've just kind of placed these at our own volition. But a part of that was leaving guys in the right position. So as you'll note on the 3rd line, if you're watching on YouTube, Luke Ellenis and Jake Chiasson are on the 3rd line, but there's invites on the left side because we wanted to keep those right wingers where they are. Tyler Boucher, Oscar Pedersen, and Jake Chiasson. Down the middle, Stephen Halliday. Philip Daoust is going to be there, his 3rd development camp. He's had trouble staying healthy, but has had some flashes in Belleville, and Luke Ellenis. There's a couple interesting guys who are brought in on amateur tryouts, invites, if you will. I don't know how deep we really need to get into these guys, though. I feel like you make your mark at rookie camp, Pilsy, and we'll talk to you when you get invited to main camp.
Yeah, and Ross, from what I'm gathering about most of the amateur tryouts, it's a lot of size. I feel like these are more protect the investment type of guys rather than let's see what you got and maybe you can parlay this into a contract or some playing time in Belleville. I feel more like these guys are brought in just so if anyone tries anything funny with Tyler Boucher or Donovan or some of those guys that they're going to have someone to back them up if need be. Because we don't want to talk about it, Ross, but the rookie tournament, there's guys that
they want to make a name for themselves.
Yeah, exactly. That are on other teams and they want to make a name for themselves. And if you're a big physical player, you're probably not going to score a highlight reel goal. You're going to try to have a couple big hits and maybe show your physical presence to at least get on the score sheet one way or another. And things can get out of hand when people have those kind of motivations, and you want to make sure that you're protected properly. So that's the sense I'm getting from a lot of these ATOs from the Sens. And Ross, you tweeted out a lot of connections when it comes to these ATOs.
Connect the dots. If you look at the Hamilton/Brantford Bulldogs, when Steve Stais and still Michael Anlauer are there, there's a lot of connections. Ryan Humphrey, undrafted free agent, played for the Brantford Bulldogs. So did Mark Duarte. So did Lucas Moore, defenseman who was brought, and the third goalie, David Igorov. And then, of course, the two drafted players who played there too, Hamara and Jorian Donovan. Also Sens minority owners in Windsor and Oshawa. Anthony Cristoforo will be there. He was invited to Sens development camp as well. Jabril Toure was signed after development camp invite last year. And then with Oshawa all together there, Matthew Buckley and Stuart Roloff. So, it's going to be a nice little mix here. A lot of competitive juices flowing now with the whole rookie group together again in Ottawa. And we should also mention Levi Meriläinen will be the starting goalie for the Ottawa Senators. I'd expect each goalie to get one game out of the three. That's my guess. And I'm sure Meriläinen's looking to get at least one preseason game at the NHL level this year as well, especially now that Kevin Mandolese has moved on. Kind of jots him up the depth chart there. Pilsy, we'll get more into rookie tournament tomorrow, but for now, we've got a fantastic SensCentral Citizen.
Yep, Taylor was a lot of fun. It's good, Ross, to get some ladies on the show, especially as SensCentral Citizens. We've been reaching out to a bunch of lady Sens fans, hoping to get more of you on. So if you're interested and you're listening, let us know.
Yeah, don't be shy. We love having a nice kind of wide variety of guests on the show. And I also love the ones from the most peculiar places on planet Earth for being an Ottawa Senators fan. So feel like we need to get back to Australia in the next little while.
Agreed.
If you're in any remote location and you're rooting on the Ottawa Senators, we want to know how you do it. So hop in the DMs on Twitter at SensCentral. You can tweet at us there, lockedon.senators on Instagram. All right, Pilsy, this week's SensCentral Citizen here is Taylor.
Today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at Game Time. Game Time is the official online ticketing app of the Locked On Podcast Network. And Ross, we were waiting on your schedule to see if you could go to the home opener or not. We started getting stressed. If it happens too late, are we going to be able to find tickets? It seems like the whole place is sold out. Not to worry. We were never in worry, actually, because we know Game Time is there. And we got, how many tickets, Ross? 12?
Dozen.
A dozen tickets for the home opener on Game Time. Game Time is awesome because they help you get the tickets you want to the events you need. Not just sports, comedy, concerts, theater as well. All in pricing. Turn this feature on your app so it shows the total upfront. No surprises at checkout. Make sure you turn that all in pricing on. You get your seat views, get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy. Lowest price guarantee, or Game Time's going to credit you 110% of the difference. And Game Time ticket coverage, your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. If it's good enough for us to use to get home opener tickets to the Sens game, you know you can trust them as well. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time.
Today's episode is also brought to you by Farm to Fork, farmtoforkdelivery.ca. It's premium meat and seafood delivered directly to your door, and it's flash frozen right from the butcher's table. So no matter what you get at Farm to Fork, you know that they are all fresh, right, ready to eat. Individually vacuum sealed too, which means that they keep the freshness in, but you can also just take out what you need for that day. Right now at farm2forkdelivery.ca, that's with the number 2, you can get 2 great chicken specials. I'm talking about that chicken breast bundle, 10 pounds of chicken breast for only $99. That's a fantastic deal. You can check that out right now. They've also got the filet mignon deal, and you can get these at farm2forkdelivery.ca. You can also go visit Farm to Fork live and in person because they've got their spot at 1570 Carling. Unit A, it's right in between the Diamond Storage and the Corral building on Carling, right in that strip there. So make sure to go visit Derek and the great people at Farm to Fork Delivery and go get it yourself. It's fantastic to see local companies do well, and we want you to make sure you're supporting local and supporting Farm to Fork. You can mention that they also not only are they just meats, but seafood as well. So if you're looking for salmon or anything like that, go check out farm2forkdelivery.ca. And because you're a listener of Locked On Sens, you can get 10% off for your first purchase. Just use LOSP10 for 10% off. Taste the farm to fork difference. You will never go back to grocery store meats. All right, here's Taylor. All right, we now welcome on this week's SensCentral Citizen. Taylor Beggs joins us. How are you doing today?
Good. How are you guys doing?
We're fantastic. Rookie rosters just got released. It means the scent of Senators hockey is in the air. Where are we talking to you from today, Taylor?
Just outside Ottawa. Kempville.
West direction? Are you one of those people who's cheering for the rink to stay out in Canada?
Kind of. Like, yeah, I am.
That's a lonely battle to fight. I'm sorry.
The 417 is just not it for me.
That's fair. I mean, it's going to change your experience as a fan where the arena is located. But we'll get into that later. We got to start off with Taylor. How did you become an Ottawa Senators fan?
Good question.
Okay. So, I was born a Sens fan. My whole family cheers for the Sens. My cousins, my grandparents. But I used to watch games with my parents, and I didn't really care for it. And then me and my grandma started watching them together, and she had a list of every game for the season and would mark down the score, who scored. She had all the stats on her fridge. And when I was like 6, 7, we started having sleepovers, and we would plan them around when the Sens were playing. So if we ended up going there on a Friday night and the Sens played Saturday, I'd just stay 2 nights, and we'd stay up and watch the games together. And to this day, she still texts me every single game and gives me her thoughts. Yeah, it's awesome.
Ross,
cool.
Sounds like we have our next SensCentral Citizen lined up.
She would love that.
That would be amazing. That's what it's all about, though, right? It's the family connections, the bonds that are created from being able to share the hockey experience. We need to get you guys a few more wins, though, right?
I know. I went to 11 games this season, and they only won 1.
Oh, no.
But last year my record was I went to 10 games last year and they won all 10.
Oh, wow.
So
okay.
You're on the Craig Anderson schedule where it's amazing year, not great year. Amazing year. Yeah, so we're due. Are we going to see it the home opener?
I hope so. I really hope.
With the alternating record, I mean, we're going to need you there.
Yeah.
I'm going to look at the ticket prices and then see.
Yeah. Check out Game Time.
Game time. Yeah, absolutely.
School, so I'm like, I do get a student discount too, so
there
I
you
should.
go. So Taylor, what was your biggest moment this offseason for the Sens that gave you hope that next year could be better?
Ullmark. I'm so excited to have hopefully a consistent goalie, because every time we get a new goalie, I know it's a goalie friendly show, but it's just not been it the last few years.
Taylor, do you think it's reasonable that we said, yes, we're still a goalie friendly show, but we're able to go against it if you're the last in the league? If you're dead last, then we can have an issue with it. Look, you're 31 out of 32. Yeah. We'll polish it up for you. We'll make it look good. But if you're dead last, I mean, come on. There's not much defending you can do.
I'm listening to you guys, and I'm like, oh, just don't be goalie friendly right now. Like, I need some. Like, I'm mad.
Yeah, Pilsy.
There's a difference between being goalie friendly and being goalie liars, and we couldn't just be hashtag goalie liars anymore.
No, exactly.
Yeah, it's going to be nice to see Ullmark there. Just some stability, and a guy who's coming from a winning organization can't be understated, I don't think, either, right? So do you like that strategy from Steve Staios this summer, not only with Ullmark, but bringing in Stanley Cup champions like David Perron and with Michael Amadio and another veteran with Nick Jensen? Watching that team lose 10 out of 11 times last year, you think they could have used a little bit more of that experience in the lineup?
100%. And I think when I look back to like when Claude Giroux was talking to DJ, and I know I think it was kind of like an argument situation where Giroux kind of thought the lines should have been different or whatnot. I think it's going to be really nice to have other vets to back up the players on those decisions too, to see like, you know, because I hope there's a little bit of a line switch this season. And I think those guys will be really good at like figuring out who plays good together and just like backing them up to the coaches. And like Travis Green, he's not super familiar with how the guys play yet. So that'll be really nice to have them.
We'll get right back to our chat with Taylor, but first, Pilsy's got a word from our friends with Indeed.
Yes, Indeed sponsors this episode. We're driven by the search for better, but when it comes to hiring, the best way to search for a candidate isn't to search at all. Don't search, match with Indeed. If you need to hire, you need Indeed. Indeed is your matching and hiring platform with over 350 million global monthly visitors, according to Indeed data, and a matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. Ditch the busy work. Use Indeed for scheduling, screening, and messaging so you can connect with candidates faster. And Indeed doesn't just hire faster. 93% of employees agree that Indeed delivers the highest quality matches compared to other job sites. Join over 3.5 million businesses worldwide that use Indeed to hire great talent fast. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your job more visibility at Indeed.com/locked-on. Just go to Indeed.com/locked-on right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on the Locked On Senators podcast. Indeed.com/locked-on. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed.
If assistant coach Beggs was asked the question, who's the top line next season? Are you putting Giroux back with Timmy and with Brady? I've pulled it up here. We've got Batherson was really good with Pinto and Kachuk. There's some different combinations. What's your top line going into training camp?
I really like Timmy and Brady together.
Yeah,
I do. I think they work really well together. And Timmy and Giroux as well. They had a few really good plays last season. And I'm excited to see Perron on the Norris and Batherson line because they're super young. So I think having like a guy like that will be really good.
I agree. And not only that, like with Batherson, it feels like the next step in his game is to up the board play, up the possession offensively. And I think Perron's a great guy to kind of teach him how to extend offensive zone time. So I like that. And when you're talking about who's going to play with Timmy and Brady, I mean, we're auditioning for the most prestigious job on the team, right? That's the best role you can get, riding shotgun with those two.
Yep. Yeah, I can't really think of anyone else who would fit that other than Giroux.
That's fair. Well, and also you have the second layer to it. I know it was years ago now. It's kind of dating Pilsy and I, but back when we were working in Belleville, getting to see Josh Norris and Drake Batherson together. I know they took it into the NHL with Brady for a little bit, but I think those two starting the year together would be some nice familiarity for Norris getting back into the swing of things.
100%. 100%. I'm really hopeful that he has a good season.
Is there, Pilsy, I know you want to jump in. I'm kind of stealing the interview here, but Taylor, see all the red there? Those are players that were acquired under Steve Staios. Is that enough change for you in this full year that Staios has had basically at the helm?
I think so. I think I don't know too much about the younger, newer guys. But like with the forwards there, I don't really know what else, because those are like your core players.
Yeah.
So I mean, I miss Joseph for sure. I really like Joseph. But I think it was a good move. Yeah, I can't think of anything else that he could have done. Zach McEwen's new, so got to give him a shot.
Who is your X Factor player for this season? We've been keeping a tally of all the SensCentral Citizen answers. I think I know where you're going to lean, but I'm curious to hear your answer.
Okay, I have a few.
Ooh.
Who's the top one? You can name all of them and tell us why, but who is your top one?
Yeah, exactly. We can't be fence sitters on this show.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so obviously Ullmark.
Okay. That's what I thought.
We just need a good, solid goalie, consistent.
Yep.
And then also Jensen, but
Yep.
as
He's been a
well as
popular one,
Norris too.
You actually just broke the tie right now. It was 2-2 between Jensen and Ullmark before. Nobody else has a vote yet in the last 5 weeks since we started keeping track.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I think Norris, because that's gonna affect like the lines staying together as well if he gets injured. And I think if they come out with those lines like with Norris and Batherson and Perron, I think that'll be a really, because then you got to move different people and it just won't be good if that's the start of our season.
Well, Taylor, look at the stat I just pulled up. I've got it ready to go. This is how wild it is that they've only played 38 games together. Tim Stützle, Josh Norris, and Shane Pinto. 38 games together. They started playing together when everyone was wearing masks into the rink as players. They had to quarantine for 14 days if they got traded. It feels like years ago, and that's how long it's been. They played 38 games together. So I think you're right on track there with needing Josh Norris to stay healthy, to put everybody in their right position, right?
Yeah, that record is crazy.
Yeah, it's good, too. I haven't seen a record that good in like a half decade.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
So that's your X factor, and rightfully so. Now give me a hot take going into the season.
Ooh.
Pillsy's hot take last year, I think he had Korpisalo to win the Vezina, so don't be shy.
Whoa, false news. Although you're not entirely wrong. One of my hot takes was Korpisalo and Forsberg were going to be the William Jennings Award winners, which I mean, oh my God, could that have been more wrong? I don't think so.
No.
Oh.
Dude, what you're Jacob Chikrin 20 goals, man. He had 2 goals in the home opener. I was like, you are on to something there.
He's on track.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah, Taylor, we're tracking this all season long. So let's get into it. Your hot take going into the season. Whether it's a team goal or whether it's an individual goal.
I think my hot take has to be Norris plays every game.
Oh,
all 82. Nice.
That might be the spiciest take.
Happen.
We've had some spicy takes, but this might be the most. Feller Pine said Norris is going to score 30 goals. I think it's more likely Norris scores 30 goals in 60 games than plays all 82.
Yeah.
I like that, Taylor. I'm putting that right
It's an optimistic hot take.
It's so optimistic because I really do love Norris. And I'm hoping for him to have a good season.
Well, keeping on Norris, there's been a lot of debate between fans. I don't think it's actually a real debate that coaches are discussing or that Norris is faced with. But are you in favor of maybe moving him to the wing? Maybe that shelters him a little bit more. Or are you like, nope, we need him as a second line center. That's how the lines roll out nicely. What side of the fence are you on with that?
I think I do like the wing idea. I mean, I don't know if someone else can just take face-offs for him all the time. I don't know if that's...
If you played him with maybe Brady or Giroux, like they take
That's
a
the
lot
thing.
of face-offs, but then you're splitting them up from your line with Timmy that you like so much.
And not only that, but Timmy's probably the weaker guy on face-off, so you want someone to be there for him to take a few extras, whereas when Norris's shoulder doesn't pop out, he's actually really good at face-offs.
I agree. And then there's also the issue if he's on wing, you're just in the boards more.
Yeah.
So there's also that. So maybe just keep him on center.
I think
Now,
so. And we
follow-up
just talked,
question.
right? We just talked about having that 1, 2, 3 down the middle. We can't move off of that.
Yeah.
But how about this? Would you consider putting Norris as a third line center? Because that's also been something that fans have been putting in there, just so he has a little less time. You elevate Shane Pinto. How do you feel?
I like it.
Okay.
I like it short term. Like, that's a lot of money for a third line center, though,
Exactly.
Taylor.
You're right. I just maybe like if you start out the season like that, give him a little bit of a break and just like get into the season again.
Ease his way
and then
into
switch
it.
him because that is a lot of money. But
when you're under the cap, you're under the cap, right? Like, just play the team.
Yeah.
If you're the coach, like, just play the best players where you think they need to fit.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that's a hard one. I'm hoping he's just fully recovered and we don't even have to talk. Like, don't even have to.
Yeah, day one of training camp, all eyes are going to be on what color jersey Josh Norris is wearing.
Mm-hmm.
Please don't be red. Do not be red. We can't have yellow either. I think yellow's actually the non-contact.
Yellow's worse, yeah.
Yellow means slow down, though, right? I always grew up saying red means stop.
I don't know, Ross. I've driven with you. I think you think yellow means speed up.
Whoa. I mean, it's true. Yellow does mean that it's not red yet. And look, Josh Norris, I just pulled it up here, and this is why Taylor's take is as hot as it gets. Last year, Josh Norris played 50 games. The year before, 8. The year before, 66. Then 56, which, by the way, was 56 out of 56.
Full season.
And the year before, he played 56 in Belleville out of 72 and 3 in Ottawa as a call-up. So this would be the first time in his life that he plays all 82 games. But I like it. And if he can do that, I think the Senators have a pretty good shot to be at least playing meaningful games into March. As you're having conversations, Taylor, whether it's with friends, family, what's the thought process on how successful this season will be for Ottawa?
It's hard to say because every year, it seems like every summer we get a new goalie and it's like, this is it. We're going to win the cup. We got this. But like Ullmark is different from goalies. I really think we're going to make the playoffs this year.
Okay.
I really do. And if not, I'm still going to be a Sens fan. So
there's no like what ifs, like, or else.
Yeah.
I'll be back next September.
Yeah. But I think we're going to have a good year.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. That cautious optimism, which is a lot better than right before we hit record and you said, I'm just straight up nervous.
Yeah, that too.
But hey, you put on a brave face and we're cautiously optimistic. That's the company line here at Locked On Sens. Cautious optimism.
Yes.
Pilsy, you're up.
Let's get back to some nostalgia. I feel like we've covered this team pretty well. You mentioned you're watching games with your grandma. Do you have like one core memory game or moment that hooked you, or maybe it was a game you went to live? Like, I'm just trying to tap into some of your early Sens memories, Taylor.
So me and my grandma were watching games, but we never went to them live. And then when I was probably 9, my hockey team did pulled a name out of a hat, and that girl got to go and skate on the ice with the Sens for the pre-game skate with the flag and stuff. And I got picked. And I was so nervous but so excited. I was like, I can't fall. This will be embarrassing. And so I'm on the ice and we line up for the national anthem, and I'm standing beside Philip Kuba.
Cool.
Yeah.
And I think it was Phillips at the time. And I was just looking at them, and they were so nice. All the guys were saying hi to me and stuff. And I walked out and I was like, I love the Sens. This is awesome. And I got to sit and watch the whole game. And that was a good memory for me.
That's awesome. So cool.
Yeah.
Do you have video of you skating around with the flag?
No, I wish.
Oh, darn.
Oh, that's so fun. What was the nerves like the first glide out there?
I'm like, I can barely skate. I'm an atom. And then I have to skate in front of how many people? Yeah. Super nervous. And then I gave the guys high fives. And then as soon as we stood on the line, I was like, okay, I'm done. That's my
You did it.
job.
Yep.
Oh, that's awesome. You had your. Did they win the game?
Probably.
Yes.
Hey, pros pro.
Probably.
Just 5-0. 5-0 over Toronto. Yeah. Of course it was.
That was it. That was the game.
Man, Philip Kuba's a name we haven't heard much on this show. His
know.
son's almost your age. Like that's how far back we're going. Philip Kuba Jr., born in Tampa, Florida. No, he was actually probably best remembered as Erik Karlsson's first D partner in Ottawa. I think it was Phillips for a little bit just to ease him in, but then his first like big time partner was Philip Kuba back in the day.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, time flies. You look at the decor now. A lot of those guys were probably also in Adam without how young Ottawa is on the back end, especially with those studs. You know, Jake Sanderson coming up into his own, hoping for a big year from him as well. And I'm just excited to see this team get out on the ice. I need to see it. I need your record to get a bit better. Okay, we're gonna go through. Like, do you think we need to change up things in your routine? Do you have something similar you do every game that you go to? Because this could be the difference between playoffs and not. We could share our routine because we're 14-1-1 when we go to games together.
Yeah.
I know you guys have a good record. I think the issue
health drinks
is this year I basically sat in the 100s for every game but 1 or 2. And then the year before I only sat in the 300s.
There you go.
300s.
They just need me up there.
The people. That's where the people belong, right?
Yeah, I agree.
There's no glitz and glamour.
Nope.
Yep.
Just grab your cold one and get to your seat.
Yep. Maybe less Vizzies as well.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, that's why you need the 100s, right? You need the cup holders. I see.
Yep. Exactly.
How many times have I spilt up in the 300s, Pillsy? It's like every time I need to. We always miss 2 goals because we're out in the concourse.
Of course.
And we always have to go back to get an extra beer after I spill one all over the floor.
Yeah, well, the one home opener I coined your seat Lake Levitan because there's just a puddle of booze just all over the place.
Wasn't that the one where I lost my phone too?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Gotta get your name on the back of the seat. Reserve it.
It was a win.
Yeah.
It was a win still, though, Taylor, right? We can look back at all these fondly. And I think no regulation losses in Canada either, because that Minnesota game.
Wow.
Whatever. So we got to get you the home opener, though, because I'm convinced that you're the magic that's going to stir the drink this year.
I hope so.
Yeah, because Martian was the same. Martian lost almost every game he went to last year.
Really?
I mean, it was a tough year.
And he went to a game with some of my friends.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. And I think I was there too, and we lost.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I don't know if it was the Detroit game.
Early in the season, right? Well, I know he was at that one. That's where Alex DeBrincat got clobbered in the first period, and it might have been their best period of the season. They were dominant, and then they lost. I think after that penalty, they scored on that power play. And I think they went 3 for 5 on the power play, if I'm not mistaken, and won the game.
Yeah, but I'm thinking of a game. I ended up leaving. This is the first time I've done it. I left in the second intermission.
Oh,
it was. I think we were down 8-2.
Was it the Carolina game that Pilsy was at?
That was
around St. Patty's Day.
That was 7-2.
I think so.
That was 7-2 after 2, I think.
It was a bad one. Yeah.
And I'm like, I got a 40-minute drive, and I'm like, I think I'm just gonna head out.
Yeah, that's enough.
Listen to it on the radio.
Today.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dean and Gord will carry that one home. They'll shine it up too. Yeah, exactly. And then the postcast afterwards where we cry.
Yeah.
What do we do? We vent or vibe. That's what we do on the postcast. It's been so long. Taylor, final question for me. I see you rocking that reverse retro from the COVID season. Beautiful jersey. Is that one of many in the collection, or is this just the go-to?
This is my first jersey.
Amazing choice. That's one of the ones I'm missing. It's so nice. And is that number 18 on there, Stutzler?
It is.
Yeah. Umlaut or no umlaut? Turn around.
No,
just turn around. We'll tell you. What do we got here? God, that jersey is so nice. Oh yeah,
Ullmark, I think I see it.
Yeah.
With the hair.
I made
Yeah.
sure. I made sure.
Yeah,
Clutch.
that's
Yeah.
such a. Was it a tough decision choosing Stützle, or was it a
No.
no-brainer?
No, it was an easy decision. Yeah.
Was he one of your favorites from the moment they drafted him, or when did you really start appreciating his game?
So I wasn't. So like I was a Sens fan when I was younger, and then in high school I didn't watch the Sens at all. I think I did watch their playoff run. And then I started dating my boyfriend in like 2019, and he's a huge Sens fan as well.
Nice.
And it was 2020 draft, and I went over. I didn't really know anybody in the draft. I didn't know anyone on the team really, except for Shabbat. And so me, him, and his roommates are watching this, and we're talking about who they're gonna pick. And they're like, "Oh, it's gonna be Byfield. It's gonna be so and so." And then you see Alex Trebek come on the screen,
Yep.
and I'm freaking out. I'm like, this is so exciting. And they announced it was Tim Stützle, and from that moment, I was like, I love this guy. This is so cool. And since then, I've been like, Timmy's my guy. And funny enough, I didn't even realize Jake Sanderson was in that draft till like later, because we were so excited. We just didn't even. I don't even think we watched like the rest of it.
Nice.
Well, maybe we did, but yeah. So that was probably the turning point.
Timmy
That
was
was
the
the
star
turning-
of that show for sure.
Yeah,
Big time.
yeah.
Pills, you got a final one?
Well, I'll follow up then. What is the next Sens jersey you're gonna buy? Give me the color and the name on the back.
I mean, this could be Christmas isn't too far away. I mean, the boyfriend Sens fan, he might be listening.
There
so
you go.
choose
Yeah.
your words wisely, Taylor.
I'm gonna Sanderson jersey for sure. I think.
So you are living the 2020 lifestyle.
Yeah, I am
I love that.
White or black?
black.
Nice.
Black. Okay.
For
Black
sure.
and red. Absolutely. Awesome,
sure.
Taylor. Well, this has
Yeah.
been fantastic. We love getting the takes, and 82 games for Josh Norris and a
Yes.
playoff spot locked up. Love that, Taylor. Appreciate you joining us. Thank you for doing this, and we hope to see you at the home opener as well.
Thank you guys. See you at the home opener.
All right, Pilsy. First off, stick taps to Taylor for joining us. Really fun conversation there. Any final thoughts on today's show?
Well, Ross, we talked about it in our interview with Taylor. We are a hashtag goalie friendly show, and nothing more friendly, Ross, than boosting up your goalie's gear. And it's nice, Ross. I feel like Sens goalies haven't had bad masks, but some of them not so favorable setups. Now we get the dual threat, a beautiful mask and a really nice setup from Linus Ullmark. And I like it too, Ross, because Ullmark admits he's a gear guy. Like he was saying, I think on TSN 1200's interview, that he doesn't really know a lot of goalies that he loved growing up, but he knows all the gear of goalies that he loved growing up. So that's something you and I can certainly appreciate.
Oh, we certainly can. And not only just the gear and actually having color on it. Ottawa's had quite a few all white gear guys, from Matt Murray to Jonas Korpisalo last season. So I think that just getting a bit of splash in there is nice, a little personality. Now, we waxed poetically about Jonas Korpisalo's mask last year. It was shiny. It had the little Martian on the side, but Linus Ullmark bringing back the legitimate Marvin the Martian, albeit tweaking it a little bit, fixing the eyes a little bit, and not only that, but getting the Viking tusks on the helmet. I think it was just extremely well done, and I look forward to seeing it out on the ice.
Yeah, Dave Art, everything he does is incredible. So yet another slam dunk design by him, and I can't wait to see it on the ice either, Ross.
Can't wait. Well, we'll be back tomorrow with our 3 players to watch for the rookie tournament coming up this weekend. For today, we say goodbye. For Brandon Piller, I'm Ross Levitan. This has been another edition of the Locked On Senators podcast. Your team every day.